Friday night, and we're doing it right. There's only one way to do it, and that's the fuck 'em fam way.
Yeah.
It's been a long, hard week for everybody. It's been a crazy week. So, let's get this done right. Let's meet our panel tonight.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, friends.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Sorry, my window decided to close out when I was introducing the gang, everybody. But that's what happens when you do it live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Exactly. Episode 5 of Bar of DeMOCKracy. Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody's doing great this evening. I know that I'm certainly ready to kick it off right.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So it's been a hard week of news. Not only has it been hard for women in Arizona, but it's also been hard for the Republicans to have to backpedal from everything that they have stepped in so far. They keep trying to do this Jedi mind trick bullshit, but we have them on tape.
This is true.
Yep, we do.
Yeah, it's kind of like if R2 and C-3PO had big old signs on them that said, yes, these are the droids the Empire is looking for.
Exactly.
and he's just sitting there just like, these are not, it says that they are.
Yeah, you know, I make jokes about it, but like Arizona really kind of unnerved me. Like that was like, I don't want to say like, oh, I'm scared, but like, I don't know. I just got really unnerved.
It's scary. It's scary. I'll go ahead and say it. It's scary.
Well, when they're looking back to the Civil War for laws.
I mean,
Lincoln was alive and well and president. Like, what the fuck?
No
how do you like?
I mean,
how does that even? I can't even. Like,
how do you square that shit?
Right?
I mean, like I'm like they weren't even a state yet.
Well, yeah, I mean, and
We did. If they want to take us back to 1864, well, honey, that's way before women got the right to vote.
Well, when they say they want to make America great again, I think they mean that they want to also make slavery illegal again. I mean, they've already done it with like child labor and where is it? Iowa, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
My dogs are gonna start barking. My dog.
We love dogs, so that's quite all right. So, well, we got to pull our name out of the chopper hopper. Can I get a drum roll? Let's find out who our host for tonight is.
Let's go with it. Hold on a second. Wait, where'd it go? Hold on.
Cheeto pumping fuck nuggets.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Okay, it says, oh shit, it's me.
Whoa.
Oh.
Wow, this will be interesting.
Really?
Well then.
Wow. Okay.
Let's think here. I think that if there's one thing that we've noticed, and that's that obviously every absolute accusation from a Republican is a confession, especially in the world of cancel culture, am I not mistaken?
Yeah.
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 If they projected any harder, you could see it on the moon. And for that reason, my friends, I chose this. Hey, cancel culture is out of control. Meanwhile,
yeah, like, what the hell?
Since I've been alive, conservatives tried to cancel. Let's start with, hey, everybody. Like it's the 1980s again. It's the Satanic Panic with heavy metal. So, does anybody else aside from me remember?
Hey, I remember when the dude from Twisted Sister went and spoke to Congress.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm. D. Snyder.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, D. Snyder.
Yeah, it was D. Snyder and Frank
Yeah.
Zappa. So
That was
it
when
was,
Tipper Gore was running some, thing, and
well,
Yep.
that, and I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a in Norway there were some church burnings going on. Okay, like the rise of black metal was a thing. Like there was satanic black metal in the 80s. That completely was a thing. Bands like Venom and Mayhem and Bathory and stuff like that. But then what ended up happening is, for some reason, like Kiss somehow got lumped in with these bands because they wore black and
Glam metal.
spikes and stuff. Yeah. So they became Knights in Satan's service. And then they were, remember the whole like the backmasking thing with like if you spin a record backwards you hear like all this mess. And what it really was a really brilliant way for the record industry to sell more records because people were fucking their records up.
I
If you
remember.
play your records backwards, you are Satan. No need to look any further.
I remember Ozzy Osbourne got under a lot of old ladies' skirts. Like they were really, at least in New York, he was talked about like a lot that like he's he's vulgar and vile and blah. Especially when he did the bat thing in a concert, like.
Well, the whole bat thing is that was an accident because somebody threw, he thought it was a toy bat because people are always throwing stuff on stage. Like Jake E. Lee had to avoid a rattlesnake once. But during a photo shoot he was supposed to take for the record company, they gave him doves to hold. And Ozzy being Ozzy thought right at the count of 3 to bite the head off the fucking dove. And, well, drugs. And that made it legendary. So, that ended up happening with the bat, and he had to get like so many shots and stuff. And it's so funny because he inspired like this whole trend of like heavy metal kids eating stuff they weren't supposed to. So I can see, I guess, where like the evangelicals were like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. Because also think, I mean, we're coming in the time of the 70s, rock concerts, stadium concerts. That was the first time that really happened. And they hadn't seen like people gathered like that under the spell of somebody since, I hate to say it, since the fascists. So, I mean, I could see where that'd be a little bit frightening, but yet at the same time, it was new and it was weird and it was scary and the parents couldn't get behind it. So therefore they had to, label it as evil. And I mean, I could literally go on and on and on about the satanic panic when it comes to, the overreaction of the Christian right when it comes to them finding anything that they can to be evil. Like the same music that they said would send you to hell is now bumpers for their Ford F-150 commercials.
Yeah.
Fair.
They thought Elvis was gonna. They didn't want to show him on TV because he would shake his hips and, oh my God!
They tried to cancel the
and
fucking
that's that.
Beatles, man.
Yeah, it's like anytime anything's new or does something, it's, oh my God, you need Jesus, or oh God, I'm like, oh my God.
Now we have Ted Nugent on stage before concert start eating a whole tube of horse paste. Just
as much as we appreciate that.
I was never really a fan of Ted Nugent, anyway. So
Who was?
Well, I mean, like I said, his best song was Stranglehold, and he didn't even sing on that. So, that was heavy metal. Let's go back to our good friend cancel culture, shall we? Next up, Harry Potter.
Wait, I don't even remember them trying to cancel it.
So because the Christian, I'm not even lying,
Magic.
we know some people that didn't let their kids read the books or watch the movies. because it's magic and it's evil.
But they watch Cinderella.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
but this
like,
is this is magic straight out of the bad side, what the Bible
I'm
talks
like,
against.
it's called
and stuff like that.
imagination.
Like,
Well, yeah.
talk about the no fun zone.
Yeah, like,
We get it.
way
You
to
hate
go.
fun. We get it completely. All right? Like, goddamn.
Yeah, you're not supposed to know about magic. Just watch Disney movies where there's a genie and a giant fucking like lion's head in the sky, and
Like,
that's realistic.
and like a lot of like, I don't know what I am now, but like I was a Christian, or I still believe in a lot of shit, but I just don't believe in like hanging out with those people because they're not what.
You're not a
No.
white Christian
Anyway.
nationalist.
No, I'm not. I'm not
Bingo.
white. I'm just a pasty old librarian who has faith. But like,
I think I'm more
Oh,
spiritual. I'm more spiritual than
like,
religious.
I just don't see, like, even if you go by, the Bible, okay, like a lot of what makes what they think evil is the intent behind it. So if you're not doing magic for the sake of like doing magic,
Like Voldemort.
Yeah,
like he was
like-
using it.
yeah,
Star
and, like,
Wars, dark and light people. It's the same thing. Evil
just
versus
reading
good.
about it isn't like, there's really nothing in the Bible that's, in fact, it says like you should know, if you're really worried that much about evil and about the devil and stuff, then you should read it to know what they're like. You can't arm yourself against it if you don't know what's being said. So like, it's like they're just, I don't know, I think they're just complaining to complain, and some people just need to be outraged. Like,
Yeah.
They need to be
exhausting.
a victim of something at all times. Like somebody
And you
is
know what's so
coming to
funny?
take away something of theirs because of some reason that they can't control.
J.K. Rowling now is like really weird.
Like trans people.
I have something
Like
to say
trans
about that, in
people.
fact. There is
She
nothing.
kind of
I
ruined.
sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, it was just a comment. Like, I really enjoyed the Harry Potter series a lot. I was
I did
that dork.
too.
I was that dork at Barnes and Noble at midnight getting my copy in like 2007. Like, I was that guy, but like, and I loved that my daughter read all the books and wanted to watch all the movies, and I watched all the movies gladly with her. But now it's just like, she just like tainted her own work because she can't just even leave it alone. Like, she'll just tweet something on Twitter about like, it just out of the blue. Like, she keeps going on, like, lady, okay, you're unpopular, like your thoughts are unpopular. Yeah, you're not going to go bankrupt. You're a billionaire from your stupid little series. Like, just shut up. Like, shut up. You have nothing constructive to say. So, like, why do you have to keep talking and, like, just making people mad for the sake of making people mad? Like,
I've never seen anything more indicative of white Christian nationalism than bigots who once banned her books are embracing her because she's anti-trans. I have never seen a more solid example.
You know who else just did that turn and kind of ruined their name? Richard Dawkins. Like, he's
Why do
gone
I know that
anti-trans. He's a
Wait,
biologist.
naturalist?
He's a
Biologist, naturalist.
yeah, and he's
Oh,
just
okay.
like, he just came out recently talking about, oh, we need to support Christian values. Like, dude, you're one of the 4 horsemen of atheism. Like, you're one of the big names in it.
That's one way to put it.
And it started with his transphobia.
what's
Like,
really funny?
go ahead.
We have a professor at the university I teach at, and okay, so there's this artist Bo Bartlett, and there's a Bo Bartlett Center. Like, he donates obviously a ton of money to the university because there's a building named after him. And he's an artist, and he's pretty good actually. He's like this cross between Dali meets Hopper meets, like, it's a kind of a unique style. But anyway, so as he gives so much money to the university, we got to have his shit all over the place. So the library has this monstrosity of like, brutalist architecture. So we're going to get two of his paintings are typically really, really huge. They're wall size. And so we got two of his massive, massive paintings. One of them says E pluribus unum. And there's this professor who got really upset by that. Because, and then the other one says something to the effect of like New World Order, but it's not like, it's more of like what's on the money. It has to do something with money or currency. Like, it's not like indicative of, like, the dude's weird, okay? He's a weird artist, okay? Who's really rich. Like, and not because of his art. Like, like he just comes from a family of wealth. So
There aren't very many rich artists, so that's
like
tough.
it's really, so he made a huge stink about it because I guess he must be a Christian because he didn't like, and so we had to be like, well, see, that's the thing about libraries, they're for everybody, so we don't know what to tell you. We're not getting rid of it. Like they wouldn't get rid of it anyway because the dude donates so much money to CSU. So anyway, like they get, there's always one of them, and I don't know why I'm always struck by the scientists that get all weird like that.
I think it's they're coming close to the end of their life and they have to find Jesus, I guess. That's like the thing to do. I don't know why, but it is. Next subject. Nike.
Nike.
That one makes sense.
What's wrong with Nike?
In the world of right-wing cancel culture, Nike has fallen prey to them because of Colin Kaepernick. Does anyone remember that?
Yeah, I do.
When people were burning,
okay,
they
this is-
were
Oh, yeah.
burning their shoes on
Yes.
TikTok.
What a moron.
And
Such a moron.
Unfortunately, they
Stupid.
took the shoes off first.
My God,
Hey,
who cares?
do you know what's
You just spent your
orange,
money.
yellow, red, and looks great on racists? Fire.
I see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, remember, like, and the best part about when conservatives buy things and then destroy them because, something happens to, like, not align with their, like, bigoted beliefs is that company already has their money, you dumb fucks.
I think the best come around for that was this year because they were whining and crying about Taylor Swift for a whole month, right, leading up to the...
Yeah.
What I love about Taylor Swift, she's a billionaire solely based on her music.
Yep.
It's not even like investments or like she came out with headphones or solely from her music. I love it.
It's like
love
we-
it.
And she had to re-release her music, and she and her tours and how much
Yeah.
how much she pulls for them.
Like we were saying earlier, I'm really sure that MAGA and the older conservative generation that really dislikes her is mostly because, like I said, they can't hit her. Like, she is a genuine billionaire. She doesn't have to take their shit. She can question what it is that they have to say, and they can't smack her across the face.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not mistaken, the older conservatives' favorite way to answer a question that they genuinely had no honest to God factual response for was just to hit you.
And like what's awesome is that like she's kind of like the left's Donald Trump. Like if the right says something awful about her, like they get jumped on.
Her and Dolly Parton.
I mean, like. And even Marsha Blackburn was like quick not to say a damn thing about her. Like, I've never seen Marsha Blackburn. I've never seen her not take something or somebody on. And like, I've never seen her be nice about a liberal in my entire life of watching her in politics. And wow, that says something when Marsha Blackburn is not saying a damn bad thing about you,
Well, I mean, they know the power of in the second time, all she said, because she did it once, said, vote. That's all she said. Then she put in how many people registered to vote. And the Republicans are scared because they know that their women aren't going to vote to have their bodily autonomy taken away.
Yep.
Nope.
Some are, but most aren't.
Oh, yeah. It's like the meme of like the person punching themselves in the face, and it's like, lady voters, MAGA.
I don't know how many of you all watched The Handmaid's Tale on the series on Hulu, but or even read the book. But God, what's her Serena Joy? The one of the main villains who has her husband and her have the handmaid. Before Gilead becomes Gilead, she's like this famous writer, and probably not in the book. This is more on the show. They dramatize her as a more modern, like she's a conservative pundit on all the news stations, and she comes out with a book called A Woman's Place, and she helps overthrow the government and make women these beyond second class. They're like fourth class citizens in this
Ingram.
And and then so there's this one scene that really struck me. It was when they had overthrown the government and they're starting to work things out, and it's when the group of men who used her fame and popularity to get more well known turned her away and didn't want her ideas because they were moving into the patriarchy, theocracy of Gilead. So women don't even read in that culture. So she she looks so hurt and upset. And it's like, my dude, what did you think was going to happen? Did you honestly think you'd be the only one allowed to read in Gilead? Let's get real. And so I look at these women who are so quick to say, you know what, I'll give my rights away if it means, we can live. No, first of all, you're breeding on some socialism there for the collective good. Second of all, I know that's not actually socialism, but they're always so against the collective good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you honestly think that you're going to be one of the good women that will get respected? You must be out of your mind.
MAGA women don't read anyway, so they don't have anything to lose,
That's why Marjorie Taylor Greene's
right.
book sold so well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd read a lot of conservative books, people who come out with. I couldn't bring myself to read hers. I'll get the Cliff Notes somewhere else. I can't do it.
Well, like I said earlier today in book club, if you really want to get a view into the mind of what the plan is, aside from reading Project 2025, and that's read Death of the West by Barry Goldwater.
Oh no! And if you read or not, I didn't read any one thing researching the Heritage Foundation, but really researching the life of the guy who started it. Oh gosh, I don't. My brain's jello today.
Join the club.
But the guy who started it, it'll come to me.
Edwin J. Fulner.
Yes, thank you. You see, hindsight's always 20/20, but when you read the historical and watch the clips from the 80s and re-listen to some of Reagan's bullshit that he spews out, it's like, holy shit, there it is. There's the bud, there's the seed planted, and you just look at the giant tree 30 years later, it's like, holy fuck, nobody saw this coming. We should have saw, I bet there, we saw it coming, but we didn't see it coming, at the same time.
I'm really glad that Prunella brought up the fairness doctrine during the book club.
Yeah.
Because, good Lord. As we discussed before, Roy Cohn was there in the Oval Office with Rupert Murdoch when they decided that if we can figure out a way to play grievance, that if you don't platform our lies, we call it censorship, then we can, honest to God, just lie to people and get sponsors to like show up to let us do it.
And with net neutrality, like, that doesn't really get talked about as much. And actually, Burger King made a really brilliant commercial about why net neutrality is so important. A lot of the most famous, I guess, most well-known point of net neutrality is like, internet speeds. Like it's the same fucking shit. Like you're just like, it doesn't cost them to be any more slower or faster. Like it's the same thing. They're just like choosing to make it slower for you to make you pay more.
It actually is harder because they're not regulating it. They actually have to bring people in to know how to do that and set up a system to change the speeds. Like it's costing them.
Yeah, and that's only one part of it, but like that goes in a lot with similar to the gravity of the fairness doctrine. And there's so much like you can discriminate so much advertising. My brain's mush, but anyway, I'll show you the Burger King commercial that really kind of hits home.
I imagine that somebody could probably put a link in the Twitch chat.
Yeah, let me find it, and I will.
And what's our next subject? Let's see here. It is Teletubbies.
Ew! My daughter just brought up Teletubbies.
Or the right wing.
I've never turned on Teletubbies for my kids.
The only reason the right wing tried to cancel them is because of some weird thing about saying that, Tinky Winky is gay.
They baby talked. I mean, hello.
I don't
Not
get that
gay.
They're kids' characters. Like, just leave them alone.
Basically, for babies, and stuff.
The babies just like stuff moving around on the screen. Like, just that's it. They don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we don't. God, don't make a deal out of everything. Like,
It's not called baby talk anymore. It's called Katie Britt talk.
I see you.
Baby Fundy voice.
I hear you. I'm staring at you while you sleep. I am. Okay, I put the Burger King ad in the Twitch chat.
Oh, cool. I actually agree with them on this one, though. Teletubbies are awful.
Yeah, they are.
They're weird.
I was like, no, I'm not.
I wouldn't let my kids watch it.
Yeah, I didn't expose my children to that.
It never dawned on me to let Emily watch it.
Little baby in the sun is creepy as fuck.
I'm like, this is who is smoking drugs? Yeah.
Who thought of this idea? Who thought of this idea?
You're like, damn.
I want to bring up the generational concept of like children's shows, and we see it on social media a lot, where you'll see a post going, "Hey, how old are you?" by these shows, and you'll see multiple shows depending on your age and the range of the shows and stuff like that. My daughter, who's almost 12, grew up with Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. Who?
Oh, right, for Mr. Rogers.
Yeah,
It is spin-off of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but it's fully animated this time. And by the time she was like 3 or 4, I tried to get her to watch some of the episodes I could remember from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And which leads me to another conversation of these kids are smarter than we know, because she gave me the dirty stink eye look, going, "I know what this is, but why are you showing this to me? This is like so old school. It's not interesting." And it just ooh, that hurts.
Also,
Because when I see Mr. Rogers, I start to cry.
You know what? And
I'm just like,
never been canceled.
Mr. Rogers.
Never been canceled. Never would be.
Mr. Rogers.
From when I was a kid, Barney was creepy as fuck, though. Like,
yeah, my niece was a Barney. When Barney was around.
Barney came out a little that was my sister. My sister is 6 years younger than I am, so that was like my sister's thing. I was like a little too old to be into Barney.
It's at this point that I want to.
I'll throw it out. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, hey, Twitch chat, go ahead and throw in a show that you remember from way back in the day, and we'll bring up a couple later.
I mean, I'm so thankful for Sesame Street. Like, you want to talk about like something that like really showed you, because I mean, especially when you grow up in, you know, like Jerkwater, fucking Iowa, you know, or, you know, Ohio, Central Ohio, like I did,
middle of nowhere, Texas.
You know, I mean, and you know, there's songs like "Who are the people in your neighborhood?" Exactly, and it really taught you to
like people in your town,
and then
in your town. That's me.
My problem is I would be getting conflicting messages. I'd be getting this from Sesame Street saying you should take in all the education that you can and you should meet as many people as you can. And then growing up where I grew up around the idea of white Christian nationalism, it was like, there are people that aren't as good as you. And it's like, wait a minute, who's right?
You know, I didn't realize this at the time, but the mailman, not his name, but he was African American, and that was controversial for him and that guy to be like friends and like share like
Mr. Rogers. They shared the pool. They shared the little pool together. Remember?
And I didn't think anything of it at the time. I thought nothing of it at the time. I didn't learn until like I was much older that was like a big deal.
Yeah,
huge,
big deal. Yeah.
I mean, it was just, and it was so, the best part about it is it was so casual. Like, it wasn't like, we're
it's like, hey, let's cool off.
It wasn't like Nancy Pelosi putting on the African garb, okay? Or do you remember that shit?
They even brought a little boy in a wheelchair, and he, you know, just, you know, to show, you know, how cool his little chair was, and you know what he had, but you know that he was no different than any other kid. And Mr. Rogers,
almost like Disney.
Mr. Rogers sang that song to him. Oh God, and I'm just like, oh, and he's sang with them, and I'm not. But he was always good about, because you know a lot of things just weren't talked about like that in the home. So Mr. Rogers kind of covered some things that maybe
some things weren't brought up.
So
did Sesame Street. Every once in a while they bring up a community thing. Every time they bring up a new, even now, like in the last few years, they bring up new community members. And people are like, wait, who you bringing? You're bringing another colored person? Oh man, that was the last thing. Yeah.
I know they brought in an autistic character.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're showing all the.
I'm like, I think it's great.
Yeah, they're really, you know, I mean, they've always been on the top of the line when it came to representation, and I'm so thankful for the Children's Television Workshop.
Project 2025. This isn't talked about at all, but they want to get rid of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Of course they fucking do.
Yeah,
of course they would.
Of course they would.
Well, they would be there, but it would be under the jurisdiction of the president.
Hashtag save Sesame Street, y'all. Hashtag save Sesame Street.
It says
I think actually HBO owns Sesame Street now. It's not technically under PBS.
All right, friends.
I think.
Go ahead.
Before we move on, shout out to the Twitch, the shows they recommended or that they remember. Magic Garden, The Romper Room.
Oh, we mentioned Romper Room last episode.
The Snorks, the Smurfs.
Yeah.
I'm a Smurfs fan, big Smurfs fan.
In Germany, they're called Der Schlumpfer.
Ooh, Elf and Dinosaurs, I remember that one. Those were good ones.
Elf and Dinosaurs. Jem and the Holograms, Eureka's Castle, Pee Wee Herman, Looney Tunes. I remember Animaniacs.
Yeah.
And to this day, I will shout out Peanut specials for every holiday.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I remember like Justice League, like cartoons where like Wonder Woman would be in her invisible plane, but yet it's outlined.
Yeah, I gotta shout out to with Tony mentioning about Charlie Brown. I'm sorry. I just had to think of this. It just hit me.
Always like Charlie Brown.
Yeah, but like the Vince Guaraldi, like the Christmas time is here, like that song. You know what I mean? Like it just right. So. My band would use that as like an internal joke whenever something like horrible or sad would happen to one of us. Like you would just sort of sing that as a way to mock them. And we were in New Orleans and Dalton had went down to the casino and we could actually see him from the top of the hotel we were in coming back from the casino that he'd lost his money, had his head down, and you could hear like
Oh, dogs are gonna start barking.
There you go. They like that noise. Vince Guaraldi also available on Spotify. Everybody, that whole album with all the Christmas songs and
so good.
Different show songs is on there somewhere. Yes,
so good. All right, going back to our good friend right-wing conservative cancel culture. What's next in line? The Dixie Chicks.
Wow.
Ladies, I'm going to let you start on this one.
Well, my thing is she wasn't even on American soil and they did that shit. And I'm like, so what? Who gives a shit? Like, that they sure weren't allowed to spill their political beliefs. And I'm telling you right now, the country people were pissed off.
Well, it's really
Are we going
funny.
to mention, though, that she
I'm
she
like,
was completely right?
But she was. I mean, and she had every right to say that.
Mighty Librarian, what say you?
Everybody's not singing about being a fucking patriot or faux patriot and shit. You know.
I got worried the dogs would go nuts, like, because my one dog, it has like a throaty, like, in your ear bark. But at the time, I really wasn't a Dixie Chicks fan, and I just didn't really understand like why people were so like I knew what happened, obviously I got it, but like I didn't like I was in college at the time, and Potsdam is like a very well, now it's at least Stefanik's district, but at the time it was conservative, but it wasn't like as militant as it is now. But there's a huge military base there, and the 12th Mountain Division at the time, I don't know if they're still out of Fort God, I'm doing terrible today. It's in Watertown, New York, but it's a huge base there. So it was a big military town, and quite a few people who were born and raised in Potsdam died in the war. So when the Dixie Chicks, said that, it was a big deal in the town.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was huge. And I get it, like...
I get it, but at the same time...
Yeah.
Sorry, Mighty Librarian. Fort Drum.
Drum, thank you. Fort Drum. I don't know why I can't think of names today, but... So, like, it's like... At the same time, I'm just like... There's this... It always got made fun of, and I probably made a few backhanded comments about. There was this group that every Saturday morning they would go by the post office, and it was like a pretty big post office because it was like the main branch for a big. It's still a pretty rural area, but at the time it was really rural. So that was like the main branch for like the northern New York, and like they would always protest the war, and it would be the same people. Like dead of summer. Cold, it could be a storm in the winter. They were out there protesting the war religiously. And, it was just funny because it was like, why are you bothering? But now I have a lot of respect for those people. Like, way to stay like through, like, because it gets cold in Potsdam, like, brutally cold. Like, my car battery froze cold. Like, so, looking back on the whole situation, like, it's really like shame on America for like canceling them, because it's their freedom. Now we let a former president threaten to execute his political rivals. That's okay now. But them just saying they like fuck President Bush, that was like, oh my God.
I know. Crazy.
You know, they just couldn't. They can't handle that. So, but I wasn't a Dixie Chicks fan. Like, so I didn't. I didn't really. Not that I didn't care, but I didn't care at the same time. That about their music because I didn't really listen to it to begin with. But I thought it was just kind of fucked up.
Well, they got thrown into the whole like shut up and sing category as well. But yet, if I'm not mistaken, we had literal flash in the pans like that Fergatio Blow guy who did the song exploiting Target during Pride Month just to build up a bunch of outrage and calls bomb threats just to make them like be like, yeah, we won't do Pride anymore. But that ended up failing because, like we're tired of the fucking fascists' threats and literally a flash in the pan. I'm talking like Falco had a longer run than this motherfucker.
Of the Fifth Column made this point in an episode, and I wouldn't be able to find it if I tried. But like he was talking about and I don't remember what the whole episode was about, but it was basically like one of his younger kids, he has like 10 kids, one of his kids on the younger side, like elementary school age at the time, he was like, they were learning about the civil rights movement, and like, his son was looking at a photograph, and it's like, wow, like the people like who, those the fire hose pictures, and when they were dumping like the milkshakes on them in the
sit-ins,
in the diners, in the sit-ins, and it's like, a lot of those photos are grainy, it's hard to tell who's who, quite a few of them. Now, like, and I bet looking back on it, those people who are doing those horrible things, I bet there is a little bit of shamefulness, or if not like on their feeling shame on their own, they would definitely feel ashamed if like somebody knew that it was them. Now we have cell phones. We have like, so 20 years from now, when eventually this will end, because I just refuse to believe this MAGA will win. I refuse to believe it. So like, I will do everything I need. Like, it's just not going to happen. Anyway, like 20 years from now, when we look back on this and we're shaming Ted Cruz and he's an old man, and Rand Paul, and we're making fun of Mitch McConnell after he's been long dead, like, like we know exactly who was there, who was doing these horrible things, because the pictures are clear. Not only do we have clear pictures, we have clear video. Like, there's going to be no hiding behind a grainy photograph. People will be able to know exactly who you are if they don't know already.
I'm a caveat off that and say that's why American history is labeled as CRT, because somebody doesn't want somebody's meemaw or someone's pawpaw like be identified and be like, hey, meemaw, why were you yelling at Ruby Bridges in this photo?
Oh, I never even thought about that. Yeah, I guess
that's exactly what I was thinking.
I never thought about that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and shout out to Theron in the chat.
Hi, Theron.
He says we're like Wayne's World-esque.
We're intelligent Wayne's
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Wayne's World. We have to come up with like
where that portion of Wayne's World when he's talking with Alice Cooper and learning about the Milwaukee origination, the name of where Milwaukee got the name from the Native American tribe. That's actually this portion of Wayne's World.
Yeah. But our go-to song is
I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob.
That's some funky strumming, I'm telling you, boyo. Next up, Magic the Gathering.
About this one.
I don't know anything about really the.
I tried to get into it in high school. I couldn't.
It's just the same thing as Harry Potter. It's magic. It's got orcs. It's got trolls. It's not, like it doesn't involve talking animals and boats and floods. So, they're not into it.
True.
Funny. Yeah, I don't have any opinion on that.
But my deck is bigger than yours.
Apple. Why did the conservatives try to cancel Apple again, friends?
Why did they?
Was it China?
Why did they?
I can't remember.
I don't know.
I know Apple was getting in trouble for like planned
they wouldn't give
obsolescence
over
kind
their
of stuff.
shit.
Yeah, it's
Their
a closed system. Apple's always been like that, and they're like, you don't like it, don't come, and everyone goes.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's the slow and skinny of it. Conservatives enjoy the free market as long as, it's in their favor.
Right, yeah.
Let's see here. We're going to skip a few because they're just so absolutely re-fucking-ridiculous. And let's go to Pokemon. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that South Park made a whole episode about how the right wing were freaking out about Pokemon.
Of course they were.
Of course. That was back in like the late 90s. A long time ago.
Yeah, they were saying that it was transmitting to their white rural youth messages of countries that might not be America.
I have a South Park for every occasion. And
because it promoted evolution. That was literally one of the reasons.
Yeah, because I've learned this from living with a literal Pokemon master trainer who also paints cards and gets paid commission, that apparently there are 3 evolutions to each Pokemon. And, I mean, we can't have the idea of growing and maturing.
They really got upset about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, for reals.
That's hilarious.
That's why my parents didn't like me playing with Pokemon cards or watching the show back in the day.
You know what? There are some things that I just, because I grew up Catholic. We weren't obviously real religious at the time, but things that I that Christians get really upset about. It never dawned on me some of this shit. I never would have gathered
it's ridiculous.
How do you connect evolution to okay, Harry Potter and magic, I get, but it's still stupid because, they're not doing dark magic. They're trying to, and come on, dude. It doesn't say you cannot watch little kids.
They're born that way.
These are the same people that fucking simp for the bad guys in Fern Gully, okay?
Oh God, Fern Gully. They literally can find anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, anything.
In anything. It is unreal. And when they find something, it's all right, you're upset about Harry Potter magic, but Cinderella's totally fine, and Aladdin and the Genie's fine.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons because they made fun of Christians.
Yeah, and they showed that the father wasn't the smart head of the household because his he just wasn't portrayed as the most intellectual person. So that was a big thing about The Simpsons when it came to and they made Reverend Lovejoy, obviously.
Well, Flanders. Yeah.
Flanders.
Yeah, Flanders.
Flanders is 20 years older than Homer and in better shape and makes more money.
Stupid, sexy Flanders.
Yeah, right. And he's in every way better than Homer, but they don't pick up on that.
I'm just glad my parents didn't really censor.
Yeah, my parents didn't censor anything, really.
I got censored from watching Interview with the Vampire at a young age, and I guess I can kind of understand that.
Yeah, my husband.
I mean, but I also didn't have cable growing up. Like there was only really 5 channels to fuck with. So I
mean, 3, 5, and shitty 8.
You got Blue. You got the Korean station from Flushing.
Oh no, you're fucking shitting in tall cotton, not where we were at. We didn't get that.
Man, I was so happy when we got cable. Oh my god!
The satellite.
I got the internet.
We had a satellite dish when we ran the motel, and that's when it was a big one, and the whole thing moved.
Oh fuck! We had a parade once our town got shoes.
That's funny.
And
I remember getting prime time like 4 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. As soon as you came home from school, you were getting prime time from the East Coast.
Yeah, that was cool in Hawaii. Like I got to watch shit like in Hawaii. I would watch prime time at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I wasn't an honest TV watcher. And then like they would show the same thing again at like what would be Hawaii's prime time. Like when I moved back to the mainland, I had to become an honest TV watcher again. So like I had to, I was back on East Coast time, so wait till 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I was in high school when we ran the motel, and it was I forgot what year. It had to be 90 because that was when Justify My Love, Madonna's video came out, and it got banned on MTV. And my dad, and so we had Playboy on the satellite, so I invited like all of my friends to come out and watch that video on the Playboy channel when it premiered.
You know, I got to give a shout out to the Playboy Hot Rocks because that's the first time I ever saw the Cramps. And I'd like to point out that the Cramps absolutely changed my life in showing me that you can just embrace trash, because everything that was in the Ultra Twist video was shit that I'd never fucking seen before. And if you've never seen it, that is such a cool video. And if you've never listened to the Cramps, you're seriously missing out on some cool music.
Yeah, Like a Prayer was very controversial, but this was even after.
Yeah, Justify My Love was awesome. God, it's such a good video.
Yeah, it was really good, and it was very, and I was like, yeah, MTV, and I was like, banned it. So I'm like, hell yeah, we got a Playboy channel. Y'all come over to my house.
I didn't have MTV. There's a lot of pop culture from the 80s and 90s. I've never seen an actual episode of Beavis and Butthead. I know the general idea. I've never seen it. Like MTV wasn't a part of my life because we only had channel 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and sometimes 21.
Sometimes is like when like there was no clouds in the sky.
Yeah, that was. And oh wait, no, and sometimes 15 was the Korean channel, and if there was like no clouds and it was bright sunny day, we get that one, but if it was like a single cloud in the sky, that channel would come in.
Next up,
I also lived right near the city. Like it's only 16 miles from my parents' house to Manhattan. I mean, it takes 3 hours to get there, but theoretically, it should only take about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Next up on our list. The entire country of France.
No, I remember that.
Freedom fries.
I remember that.
Yes, freedom fries. Forgot about that. Gosh.
Oh yeah.
And you're trying to figure out like what?
For years.
American toast. Yeah, I remember that.
But I was dumb. I still said French fries and French toast, whatever.
And what the hell happened anyway? What were we doing that for?
That's post 9/11 bullshit.
They didn't go
that's right.
France didn't want to participate in our war crimes, so we got mad.
Speaking of that, do you remember when George Bush straight up fucking like Freudian slip the word war crimes and unite and do you remember that speech?
Yeah.
Do you, like if y'all can go and throw the link in the chat, but yeah, he's talking about Afghanistan and he's
I didn't realize it at the time. I didn't catch it at the time. I probably didn't even see it at the time, to be honest.
Yeah, it was astounding.
Watching it like in hindsight, I was like, holy shit, that was some crazy, like, you know.
Hey, I thought it was crazy when someone threw a freaking shoe at him. I was like, oh shit. Oh shit.
Offensive thing, one of the most offensive things you can do. And
I was like, wow. Damn. He grew up with a mom that threw shoes at home, because I sure did. I'm like,
that's pretty fast.
Yeah, I was like,
he moved pretty quick. Like,
yeah, he did.
That was pretty impressive.
That wasn't his first time.
Yeah, that wasn't his first shoe getting thrown at him.
Is that a thing in Texas?
Well, yeah, my mother would throw a shoe in the dark and hit your ass. Like, I'm not lying. She gave my dad a black eye one time in the dark. She threw a shoe at him.
Puerto Rican moms were really good at like hitting you with their little slipper.
Yeah, I mean, like you be trying to do, you know. But my mother had she would throw whatever shoe she had. She did not give a shit. And you're like, oh God, you know. And so you're just like, oh God, and you're trying to dodge, but she's like, bam, Yeah. Honestly, well, my mother
thrower. But if you had a shoe thrower mom, that hurt. Like, especially if they get the flip flop one that would snap against your skin. That
just reminds me of Eddie Murphy back in the day. His stand-up comedy.
You remember the Dr. Scholl's wooden shoe with a little sandal?
Oh,
you don't want those thrown at you.
That's a weapon.
I am telling you right now, because that shit hurts.
It's like a howitzer.
I got a shoe thrower. My ex-wife's mom threw a shoe at her when she was like a teenager, and she always wore heels because she's this short little, Central American lady. But she threw the shoe at her, but she closed the door, so it hit the door, but the heel hit the door the right direction. And
the door.
Damn.
Holy shit. Oh, no. It's like the fucking boomerang shoe on the Eddie Murphy special with a pow.
Yeah.
Real.
I was thinking of Austin Powers, but
oh yeah, who threw a shoe? Honestly,
random task.
Mm-hmm.
Odd job. Lord of the Rings. Remember when conservatives tried to cancel Lord of the Rings?
I don't actually.
I don't remember that.
That one I don't remember.
You don't? Just the same thing as always, orcs, trolls, magic, anything that isn't talking animals and floods.
Yeah.
My dad would hook us to see it in theater when I was 12 when it came out. Yeah. He read the books. He loved them.
I mean, it's funny because there's a lot of conservatives who enjoy Tolkien, but because the typical conservative cancel culture crowd was like, it's not of Jesus, it's not of the Lord. And so, they had to do
Tolkien was a Christian. A lot of his work was an allegory for Christianity.
And for his survival in World War II.
Yeah.
Was it World War? Yeah, it was World War I. Sorry about that. I'm reading the system. But
I had to jump on because I was like, this episode is right in my wheelhouse.
Hey!
Hi.
Oh no.
Yeah, this is my entire teenage years, MTV's Total Request Live, the Iraq War, Freedom Fries, all that Pokemon, Magic, everything. I'm missing out on this.
I've never put the kids to bed so quickly.
Yeah, right. They're being babysat by the TV.
Cool.
Yes, it's all right. You can.
You're not gonna make sure that they stay away from Pokemon or Lord of the Rings or
hell no.
Or our personal or new personal favorite. That's right, Ron DeSantis' daddy, the mouse with the house. Disney, their favorite corporation to cancel.
We have a Disney Plus subscription, and we've had it since day one.
We have to.
Absolutely.
And we watch everything.
I love Disney.
The whole way. So
we went on a Disney cruise, and that was like one of the best cruises I've ever been on in my life, and it was so much fun.
As a huge Disney fan, my follows on YouTube include not just my politics stuff, but a bunch of Disney stuff that include both Disneyland, where I live in California, and Disney World stuff, because they do a lot of corporate junk stuff like that. And so they're following the Florida stuff, and yeah, DeSantis stuck himself in good, and it's over with. Disney got everything they wanted, and the new board is just gonna sit there and take it.
Yeah, DeSantis got
like
spanked.
I knew this would happen. Disney shits out glitter and lawyers. Like they win like I don't know what DeSantis was thinking. Like what a moron.
I mean, and listen, all that money that they have coming in because of Disney. Like, come on, why are you picking a fight with Disney that brings in all your tourist revenue?
Yeah.
And that's
the only people I'm keeping my kids away from are Republicans. That's
in the church.
Kids away from, and preachers.
Clergy.
But then every time a new Disney movie comes out, they keep trying to find a way to cancel it, and you go, okay, keep trying it. And DeSantis used it as part of his but he used it as part of his presidential run. He used it as part of a politic ploy. He tried to use it as, I'm going to use this. That's going to gain me traction in Florida and beyond, and it didn't fly because too many people too many people like Disney just enough.
And
hey guys, sorry, I'm gonna have to dip out. My husband's trying to call me. He's out of town, so I'm gonna have to dip out. So
okay.
I love you, Disco
Have a good
D.
night.
Have a good night. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Bye.
I think he did it to lose the election.
With Theron, just
what was that?
Was there anything else you wanted to input from what you missed?
Oh man, I remember the only thing that my parents censored was my music, and it was the more obscure and more goth, the less likely that they would let me listen to it. Like all my friends were into Korn and Marilyn Manson, and they were like, no, you can't listen to Korn, you can't listen to Marilyn Manson. Yeah, nothing like that. So
when you said goth, I was like, so
yeah,
Big Sisters of Mercy fans? What's going on here? They were not a fan of the Cure. Did they have to hide the razor blades? What's going on, dude?
I don't know.
Goth.
They didn't let you listen to Cradle of Filth.
Yeah. Going back to the initial talk of black metal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny because that was a thing that was happening in Norway. It was people's lives were just way too good, so they got bored. So they were like, "We need to embrace Satan and burn churches because we're evil," and it just became a thing to do. And then the Fash got attracted to it because it's people with blonde hair and white corpse paint singing about Aryan crap. So, really, what can you expect? So, that leads me to our next topic, and I want to lump these three together, and that's Keurig, yoga, and the Ellen Show. Okay?
What's wrong with Keurigs?
Apparently, they're woke. I don't know I don't know why conservatives want to cancel Keurig. Does anyone put it in the chat? Why did conservatives want to cancel Keurig?
Yeah, you're telling me the plastic Keurig economy of filling landfills with pods of coffee in plastic. Because they're pissed about that.
Yeah, maybe just because. They're like, oh, whoa, pollution. We love that shit. Hold on.
Coffee though, it's anti-woke.
But the thing is, I think because it goes with the types who watch the Ellen show and do the yoga instead of like filtering their coffee through like an old army sock, because apparently that's the only way to do it if you're conservative. You have to buy like the anti-woke coffee.
Only Folgers and half calf.
Not even that. What is it like? They just have these stupid anti-woke like coffee companies that basically look like they have fasci symbols on the outside. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Black Rifle coffee. Yep. That's exactly what they are. They're just.
We're making fun of you.
Okay. According to the internet,
Daisy wanted to say hello.
Hello, Daisy.
Somebody complained to Fox on Twitter, and we all know how Twitter is. But this is way back in 2017, and they this is at GoAngelo put, "Good afternoon, Keurig. You are currently sponsoring Sean Hannity's show. He defends child molester Roy Moore and attacks women who speak out against sexual harassment. Please reconsider."
Yeah,
wow. And it hit the right person at Keurig, because they replied and they went, "Thank you for your concern and for bringing this to our attention. We worked with our media partner and Fox News to stop our ad from airing during Sean Hannity's show."
So, the plot
Hannity brought it up, and the only people that were like, they call it this way, they were office spacing their Keurigs were Hannity chuds. So fine. You already bought the equipment.
Exactly. You already bought it.
Tell me there's an asshole who spends $100 on a Keurig just to throw it like on the ground and break it. You know what? Stop it. Give it to me. My Keurig's like 10 years old. I could use a replacement.
Nobody's stupid enough to buy something to destroy it. Like, imagine if someone would buy like 10 or 12 cases of beer just to shoot at it. I mean,
yeah,
right?
and not even really hit it, like to miss it completely, and then like just later on they just started drinking it again. They might even wear a hat like on TV and be like, "Oh, this is a cool hat." It's crazy.
Because they made like 3 special cans, just 3 special cans with somebody's picture on.
Yep.
Can't have that. No.
That it just made their penis fall off, like just instantly.
It made my penis feel funny.
So, my friends, with that being said, I want to go to.
Wait, hold on. Yoga. You mentioned yoga, and we didn't talk about yoga. What the hell is the deal with the yoga?
I imagine it's liberal.
It's a spiritual thing, and they think it competes with religion.
Yeah, it's not talking animals and floods.
Is woke.
It's because people are running from the church and doing yoga and feeling better.
Yeah.
We don't want people to feel better.
I can confirm yoga is legit. I agree.
All right.
Yeah, my daughter's a teacher. It's legit.
So, with that being said, since our last topic was with Disney and things that they've tried to cancel, and this is the dive bar of democracy. Hey, guess what? Wait, they've been mocking me the whole time. Starter pack. Let's start with our good friend Mr. Archie Bunker, because television was woke as fuck in the 70s, kids. I hate to tell you, but it's the truth.
Wait, how did they predict the future and pick a guy that looks like an old Rush Limbaugh? That's amazing.
Damn.
Yeah, that was some premonition right there.
Yeah.
The best part about it is it really showed, that he was out of touch, and, it made it so that the older generation and the younger generation could watch the show together and not, sort of get an understanding of each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Kind of like the way that 70s show was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would watch it and it's funny, and my parents would watch it and they're just like, they live that.
That's just life. Why are you watching?
Yeah. Like,
Pretty much.
God damn it! I got away from leisure suits once. Can I do it permanently?
Yeah, right.
The only time I want to see one is when I see Randy Quaid on the screen with Clark Griswold.
Shout out to Three's Company then.
But I mean, let's look at Sanford and Son. I mean, there's another great example. I mean, but the funny thing is that both All in the Family and Sanford and Son were both based off of British television shows.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
All in the Family had the first toilet flush ever on American TV.
Al Bundy mastered it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna
We have
do
a
it.
toilet flush?
There you go.
Of course, we have a toilet flush.
It's Friday night and we're feeling
Dumb
right.
question.
Well, we are now. Yeah.
Sometimes it takes 10, 15 flushes to get these secret documents down the toilet.
Gotta clean up the poo document.
Instead of poo dollars, poo document.
Nobody left there for all the secret or the agents to pick up. Jack Smith had to wipe that stuff off.
Oh my God.
Why are all these papers stained yellow?
Oh, I just had an idea. I have an idea for Jack Smith, like, to get some revenge on Trump. But, like, do a poo dollar thing in front of Trump. Trump's gonna pick up that. He needs every penny. Like,
but with a secret nuclear document that he could possibly sell to Putin.
Yeah.
Either way, dollar, document, nuclear secrets. I mean, he'll take it.
Poo dollar bill, y'all.
We could get one of his supporters with a poo shoe.
Don't put it out with your boots, Ted.
Yeah.
The Colbert Report. Remember when they thought that was real?
Yes. I knew people. Like people I went to high school and then later college with who actually thought that was real. It was the funniest shit ever. And I was like, I had to explain to them very slowly that he's making fun of them. And they're just like, no, he's not. And they didn't believe me because, I'm apparently the dumb one. And
it's like, no. It's almost like the fake Hunter Biden trial. Which we still need to have Lev Parnas come on and comment on.
Yeah, we need more. I need more answers from Lev Parnas. Like, I'm so nosy. I'm so friggin' nosy.
I'll never forget that there was a fake Hunter Biden trial, and Judge Joe Brown was the judge.
I'm surprised it wasn't Judge Judy or Janine or something like that.
Judge Janine,
right?
Yeah.
God, I hate that woman.
Sponsored by Cardboard
We
Dough.
all do.
Judge Boxwine.
That's like an IV to the finest box wine Publix has to offer. Like,
Let's see it, Judge Space Bag. What's up? Next up, Green Day.
Well, see, Green Day was like super hypercritical of like Bush.
Yeah,
they were.
Yeah,
and then they put out like American Idiot, right?
Yes,
that's like
the
album about Bush, and then they were also
Wake Me Up.
Do you guys remember the Rock Against Bush albums? There was like compilation, like people wrote songs, or these bands wrote songs for this album.
KMFDM did the entire World War III
I don't remember the title, but it was like "Wake Me Up When September Ends." I had no idea that was about September 11th. Like, and that whole album was really kind of a compilation of how shitty that period it was.
BYOB by System of a Down. That was about the Iraq War and Bush.
Well, I think between that and
Time for a Twitch break. Shout out to Vixen, Kim, Ratchet hanging out as always. Theron was in the Twitch. Now he moved on to the show. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
Nat's Girl as always. Welcome. Zuni is here.
The Ratchet.
Shout out.
Okay, sorry about that. I was laughing my ass off because I was like, hey, does anyone remember what happened on New Year's Eve? With Dick Clark and Green Day?
Oh, no,
like when he said don't want to be part of the MAGA agenda and their dicks all fell off at the same time. Like sort of like when
this year. Yeah.
If you want some real fun, go ahead and find the videos of MAGA conservative, like fucking straight up Trumpers wearing the Trump flags, stomping around to Rage Against the Machines, killing in the name of, because they don't understand how nuance works.
No, they're just like, they wrote a song about us. We work forces and burn crosses.
They're like, they keep saying, fuck no, I won't do what you tell me. But then they're like, hold on, wait a minute. Burn crosses, work for. Shit, that's Uncle Roy.
Uh-huh.
I suppose that goes back to the them canceling heavy metal, right?
Yeah.
BEATDOWN.
They tried that.
Friends, is there ever been them thinking... This is
a great starter pack.
Oh, yeah. They keep thinking, like, I don't know, like, the right wing seems to think that Idiocracy is... I don't know, like, because, you know, that if they... I always say if they project...
manual?
A documentary, exactly.
The only thing it missed was telling you to inject bleach.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I caught that movie way late. Like, I did not watch it when it was new, but I watched it after a couple of years, and I was like, I should have watched it.
Yeah, me too. I didn't see it when it came out. I watched it several years later, and I'm like, holy shit. And like, when I started watching the downfall as Trump is like on his thing, like I'm like, oh my god, we're.
And it's not just Trump; it's across the board, and it comes with stuff like
Peachtree dish.
And you're just like, what the heck?
Why? Why?
Well, I mean, they put a guy that did wrestling in office as president. So,
do you know that Kane is the fucking mayor of Knoxville?
Wow. Yeah.
It's true. Yes, the wrestler Kane, Undertaker's.
I never realized.
I mean, Jesse Ventura was a governor, so you know.
He was my governor.
And
here in Minnesota.
And now we got The Rock getting paid how much to say that Biden is a threat to democracy? Or I'm saying no, but he's saying that he wouldn't endorse Biden. Who was the one who was saying it was RFK? RFK is saying that Biden's a threat to democracy, whereas like we all saw what happened that we caught his campaign giving the game away, how they wanted to get Trump elected. We all knew that from the beginning because he was like a Roger Stone, Steve Bannon shill.
Yep.
I want him to stay in, take votes from Trump. I want Trump to lose just like he lost money with a casino by competing with himself.
How the hell do you lose money at a casino? That is mind blowing. Like because it's rigged against you. Like there's only not even a handful of games that are not in the casinos that aren't in the casino's favor. Even those are still in the casino's favor.
When you run a casino for the mob runs you.
Pretty much.
There is if anybody is playing along at home, there's a documentary on YouTube around 1996 era called Trump, What's the Deal? And I believe that I might get his name wrong, but David K. Johnson, one of the ones who actually is one of the biggest authorities when it comes to knowing how Trump worked back in the day is in that documentary. And I mean, he still comes on like the news nowadays, like because he's always known his modus operandi. And you will see that nothing has changed aside from the fact that, hey, MAGA, if you're watching this, Trump used to be a pro-choice Democrat.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, he's fooling everybody. I was just going to say, who is he fooling? Clearly everybody, but like...
Maybe like, one day he can name his favorite Bible verse.
I just grew up with him in my, in the headlines, like for me, like when he started running for president and people are like thinking he's like worth something, I'm like, are these people for real? Like, people wonder why New York hates him. Like, is it really that hard to like figure? Like, I mean, maybe upstate New York is, but like Long Island, New York City, they have, it's personal because he really screwed over a whole lot of people that have not forgotten.
Well, I mean, in that documentary, it shows when they were building Trump Tower and stuff, he hired, people for pennies on the dollar and didn't pay them. And like, for example, there was people stripping wires with their hands because like, they didn't have tools, like every possible way that he could cut corners in any possible way. Not to mention, if you wanted concrete, you had to go through the mob to get it. And that was where his connection with Roy Cohn came through. And he met Roy when he got sued.
I think a couple of people like killed themselves because they were just destroyed financially. And they couldn't take it. Like it's really tragic. Like, so yeah, it's personal. And, I don't think anybody's like out to, like, if he didn't break the law, I don't think New York would be going after him. Like, but he broke the law.
He was insidious about it though. Like he would find these contractors and be like, "Oh, you want this huge contract? Well, you're going to have to do the upfront stuff and mortgage your house or something to pay for all the materials." And then he would just stiff them. Like it's like, "Oh, but you really want to work for a billionaire, right?" And it's so.
You want to have that name on your resume.
Yeah, and it was awful. Like and so and then all the affairs were always on TV, and in the newspapers. I am obviously not reading the newspapers as like 8, 9, 10, 11. But like, it's just something you see because it's in your face, and all the tabloids and it's just so in your face. And I hear these Christian people are saying what a solid Christian man he is. I'm like, are you out of? Do you know how many affairs he had just openly in the public? Like,
well, I mean,
I watched an old.
Go ahead.
I watched an old Mike Tyson fight, and it was in one of his casinos in the 80s. And he showed up with Marla, and he was still married to Ivana at the time.
Well, I mean, if there's one thing we've learned about Christian nationalism is that it's really just Calvin ball. They can just make up the rules as they go. And, I mean, we saw the one, the cult preacher, the whole like making the excuse about David with Bathsheba shit.
Oh, God.
And the thing that's absolutely infuriating is...
They forget the part, though, that after David murders her husband in the battle and, his son dies, he becomes extremely repentant and goes and, like, wears burlap for, like, a few years and, like, is just beside himself with grief and remorse of what he had done. And that's why he becomes King David, because... He redeemed himself in the eyes of God to become a good person because he was able to this and repent from his sin. I'm giving the Christian version of it. Is simplified. So like I don't see how they make the connection because Trump flat out said, I've never done anything wrong, so why would I ask for forgiveness? Really? Like, Christians buy that? Like, everybody does something wrong.
No, well,
Like,
Roy
there's
Cohn
only-
taught him to never, ever, ever take responsibility. Number one.
That's bold. Like, to be so insecure that you can't even admit that you do things wrong, like, compared to Christ. Like, wow. Like, I mean, wow.
The thing that's absolutely infuriating is he's just part of that 80s scum, like with Vince McMahon and Don King. And, you know, I mean, with the allegations that just came out about Vince McMahon, it's like, are you really fucking surprised? Because they all run in the same fucking circles, doing the same fucking thing, being horrible people with money.
Yeah, like, who, like, if you're actually shocked about Vince McMahon,
you don't know who fucking Vince McMahon is. if you're fucking shocked, plain and simple.
Solid.
Yeah.
Good man.
That is not a stellar example of a human being.
Yeah, we clearly have different definitions of character and what warrants a good person.
I believe that's Pulp
like,
Fiction, where he said, just because you are a character doesn't mean you have character.
You know, like, and, you know, I don't, like, what's funny is, like, I don't expect people to be perfect their whole lives. You know, I think we put too much pressure on people who do heroic things that, you know, they might have fucked up in their, you know, like Biden is a good example. Like, you know, he's really evolved from when he was, you know, the Clarence Thomas days. And I'm sure that he's like, it makes him cringe watching him at the Senate confirmation hearing for Clarence Thomas. We all grow. We all, you know, say and do things that, like, you know, make us cringe, and we wish we could, you know, have it differently. So I don't expect people to be, like, perfect, but I do expect people to, like, have some semblance of self-awareness that, like, you are not Christ. Like, and the people that, like, you know, I just don't get, like, they say you can't be a Democrat and a Christian. How can you be a Christian and buy into that Trump is Christ, is the next, like, Messiah? Like, whatever. Like, that's just mind blowing. That's just mind blowing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it has to do also is with the whole prosperity gospel thing, where, you know, if you tithe X amount, or, you know, it's pretty much any way that they can to get money from the following into the church. But they use Trump as a great example because he's rich. He's a poor man's version of a rich man, and he's a dumb person's version of a smart man.
You know what, though? Like, with, like, people, Joel Osteen is a big prosperity gospel person. Like, Southern Baptists who love Trump also hate Joel Osteen and the whole prosperity gospel idea. Like, and I know some people who hate Joel Osteen, and I'm indifferent either way. But, like, I have no feelings about, like, you know, whatever. I'm not gonna buy his book or watch his sermons, but, you know, I also don't, like, hate him. You know, like, I just never had any real feeling towards him.
When that shooting went down in his church and he did the press conference, he couldn't stop fucking smiling.
Mm-hmm.
Creepy.
He's like, that's my name at the bottom of the screen. That's my church's name. Don't wear it out. We got a hashtag. We got a website. Come on and check it out. We just cleaned the bloodstains.
Yeah. Awesome.
Awesome. Man, the chat is lit tonight. I'm telling you.
It is.
They are going hot.
I'm telling you, they are not playing. Next up, South Park. Yes, they have been mocking you this whole time.
Yeah.
Totally.
Absolutely.
I have South Park episodes memorized. Like,
Yep.
I really thought they were gonna do an episode mocking DeSantis because they have Mickey Rat. you know, and I don't know if you guys like. I really
with the
thought we were
Jonas
gonna do
Brothers.
something with
That episode.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Or the pandemic special.
Fucking
Like
talk to me like that.
the pandemic special when him, Mickey Rat, and Stan's dad go to like China and fuck the pangolin, and that's how the COVID pandemic starts. And like, oh, it's so wrong. But I really thought that they were going to do something really funny with DeSantis and Disney and Mickey Rat or whatever. They never did. I was really disappointed. I thought that was perfect opportunity. That would have been hilarious.
I will add on to South Park in general to the Book of Mormon. Again, another Spotify listen. Even if you can't catch the whole show, the songs are just enough to get the gist of them mocking the fuck out of them.
Oh, absolutely. Like, if you're going to go back to Matt Stone and Trey Parker and mocking Mormons, let's talk about Orgasmo for a fucking second.
That's old school Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Like
that's post Cannibal the Musical.
Yeah, like that. I have that one memorized too.
Oh my!
The sun is warm and all the leaves are green. My heart is full as a baked potato. Sorry.
Is that Cannibal the Musical?
Spadoinkle.
More suggestions for movie nights.
Now you're a man.
A man. Oh my god! I'll tell you what's amazing is my wife, with her German accent, sings that song with the jock rock voice.
No, man.
A man. What makes a man? God damn! If y'all don't know what we're talking about, you need to watch Orgasmo.
Oh god, we gotta have Orgasmo as a movie night. That everyone in fucking fam needs to see Orgasmo because it's just like.
Oh, it's just so quality.
And again, it goes back to they can't original, so you can pull up old stuff like Orgasmo from 25 years, 26 years ago now, and it will still apply to the bullshit they do today.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Exactly, yeah.
South Parks I watched in high school are still applicable.
Still applies, yeah.
And they're still fun. They're timeless. They're so funny. Especially like the immigrant ones, like when like they took our jobs. They're like
they took our jeeps. They took our bear with Dylan Mulvaney.
Back to the pile.
Back to the pile. Wasn't it Theron or Godfrey said they were going to turn their background into the pile? I can't remember who it was.
Just the pile in the background.
That is absolutely outstanding. One thing that I do have to give South Park, though, is they would do both sidesism correctly. They're the only place that can do both sidesism. The media fucking tries to do it, and they just ended up propping up the fucking fact.
They get everybody equally. And like, but it's not like both sidesism, even though it is both sidesism. They do it well. You're
honestly,
absolutely right.
They do it honestly. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. But now I'm gonna.
Now you're a man. What makes a man? Is it the woman in his arm? Anyway, as we, you just need to listen to that song, chat. Next up, The Boys.
Oh man,
it was around what the end of
the
season? Yeah, the end of season 3 that it finally hit them.
Yeah.
Was it season 2 or season 3?
I mean. We should add Watchmen in there as well, because that's similar.
Yeah. Especially because that was honestly the best depiction of the Tulsa race riot Tulsa massacre that's ever been portrayed.
Oh man,
it's more like even like the Punisher is on your list from the picture, and it's like
we'll get
people
there.
The Punisher would punish.
Okay, we're already there. Yeah, fuck it. Let's talk about the Punisher too. I'm sorry, you're not a fan of the comics. You just like white supremacy. Yeah, we skipped over the Punisher. Sorry about that.
Yeah, why?
Walking Tall.
We're not Walking Tall. It's what's that one called? It's the one with Michael Douglas.
Oh, Falling Down.
Falling Down.
Falling Down. Yeah.
The ultimate white grievance
title,
white male grievance movie. Like so much that it's like, I didn't get my breakfast. I'm gonna pull my machine gun out. Nah. Like I did an entire game rant about Falling Down. Like, oh my god, we could. Oh, that's a fucking episode on its own, bro.
Yeah.
Harder.
Like there are so many.
You don't realize he's the bad guy.
Yeah. Like the fucking Nazi. He's like identifying with him until all of a sudden the Nazi wants to assault him because he doesn't like believe in him, and then he kills the Nazi. And it's like just such a great example of like conservatives don't give a fuck about anything until it directly affects them. And then after he shoots the Nazi, he shoots the mirror, almost like he knows that he's the same as that guy. It's very subliminal if you catch that scene.
They're fucking Nazis.
100%.
But also,
They took our jib!
Whoops. Okay.
oh,
So, anybody else have anything to say about The Boys? Because how about that episode? Like I said, I'm not trying to spoil it for anybody that hasn't watched The Boys, but there's pretty much a character that every MAGA chud sort of identifies with, but not realizing who they are, and then they really, really show he shows his true colors behind the scenes in the same way that I'm sure a lot of people like Turd Cruz does. And it turns out that at the end of, I believe, you're going to have to correct me, whether it's season 2 or season 3, but he takes the mask off finally. Like the mask comes completely off and he kills a liberal. And the crowd at first that would be repulsed, there's a guy that's like, yeah! And then everybody gets into it, and genuinely, well, that's when MAGA started calling The Boys woke.
Wokety woke.
wow. Wokety woke.
CRT is the new woke, and woke is the new DEI. Or is it the other way around? I've been drinking.
Mega
Whatever it is.
Dexter and thinks that he's the good guy. I mean,
Yeah.
There's never gonna be like an acclaimed Hollywood franchise that is going to be like pro MAGA. There's never gonna be that. It would only have to be like in this vacuum of a fascist state, a la like propaganda, like in Inglourious Bastards, those films that they
Well, I mean, Joseph Goebbels made sure that he controlled every bit of movie that came out of Nazi Germany, including like all the actresses had to sleep with him first because he was a smarmy little fuck. But also, the Daily Wire, if I'm not mistaken, tried making movies, and Gina Carano grossed $804 at the box office.
God, they did not.
Oh, let's not forget about also such like legendary epic classics as Lady Ballers.
Oh yeah.
God, the fashion blows at making
they act
movies.
like they're all like they like censored or canceled. No, your shit sucks.
No, it just
It's
blows. You're not funny, and there's a
It's not
reason
good.
that you got rejected as a screenwriter to begin with, and that's why you turned to the fat. Plain and simple. Like
Lady Ballers was just like a gift to us.
Yeah,
It definitely was. Because we got Ben Shapiro admitting, oh no, we couldn't do a documentary because this doesn't actually happen.
Oh, let's not forget about The Sound of Projection. Like, the fucking people that financed that film got caught, like, fucking actually, like, in sex crimes with minors. Like, if those of you playing along, go ahead and Google Sound of Freedom and funded by sex offenders.
They did so much damage to child sex trafficking that they push so much bullshit information that I really feel like they're doing it on purpose so that their projection of librarians and teachers and all Democrats are pedophiles, so that they children won't be believed when they disclose their awfulness. It's oh, don't even get me started on the sound of what the fuck ever.
We know that them using trivializing terms like groomer and things like that has made it harder to get actual convictions from the people actually tracking these people down and catching them, and they don't care.
Children are a child is most likely going to be abused by a family member. It could be parent, grandparent, uncle, coach, family friend,
clergy.
Stranger danger isn't a thing. Well, I mean, it is a thing. It is a thing, but it's a much smaller percentage that really children need to know that and they're not teaching kids things that they should know, or even taking them books out of libraries that if something's happening to them and they think it's not right, they have no avenue to go to. And parents being only following this right-wing bullshit if their child discloses to them, they're not going to believe them because they think it's supposed to be a teacher or librarian or a book that's fucking doing that. And it's awful. It's just awful. And when I used to do work with trauma victims, not being believed is almost more traumatic than the act of what happened. Not being believed did more damage, and the actual, and that's just my personal observation of being told so many horrific testimonies. It just, that movie makes me so mad, and I will,
especially when it's done by people of the cloth who, for lack of better words, have a flock that will protect them. And the moment that you say anything against them, you are instantly accused of, just trying to be a rabble rouser because, protect the ringmaster, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, when I hear somebody calling whoever a groomer, I start calling them an enabler because I'm sick of it, and I truly believe I don't believe everybody who calls a librarian or a teacher a groomer it has that intention of trying to deflect. They probably genuinely believe they're doing something well, but I'm gonna call them an enabler anyway because they're too stupid to even they're just I can't even speak. I get so angry about it.
That's when I like to point out. Go ahead.
I think I use the same concept of when they call a groomer, they use DEI or woke. I'm like, okay, define it. What's a groomer?
Yeah.
What's it?
When it's to the point where hashtag not a drag queen looks like a MAGA rally, I'm sorry, you don't have room to talk.
Yeah. And I just the damage that they've done when it comes to sex trafficking in general, but particularly with children and with sexual abuse with children, that is just, they did so much damage. We were finally getting somewhere. We were finally getting, Georgia had finally put into their curriculum talking to younger kids and to teach them about inappropriate touching, and a lot of times it could be somebody who's supposed to care for you. And I forget how they did it very, very well. I don't know if they still do that. Probably not anymore because, we can't have tough conversations anymore in this country for whatever reason. And they all of a sudden believe that everyone but the people who typically do it are hurting kids. So
What do you expect? Their leader is a pedo who hung out with Jeff Epstein for like 25 years.
Dude, he's in a fucking lawsuit with him, and y'all can Google it if you want. I got the meme of it.
And yes, MAGA chuds, I did just say Donald Trump is a pedo. Do something.
Yeah, because if, like, I'm sorry, if, like, you're calling Joe Biden creepy because he was comforting a kid who has a stutter, and, like, I'm sorry, Donald Trump is a fucking nasty fuck for, like, talking about his own daughter like she's a piece of meat, like...
Grabbing her ass on stage.
Yeah. Last I checked, Joe Biden wasn't on Epstein's logs, and that conversation can end right there.
Yep.
Next up, friends and family, our good friend, our sage, our modern Nostradamus, George Carlin.
Yeah, he is a modern.
Conservatives love to think that he's on their side.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I hate it.
I'll never understand why they do. It's like they never listen to an ounce of his stand-up comedy.
He blatantly says, like, you know, they're retarded. Like,
yeah, his hippie stuff from back in the day, like cemented of where he's going, like where he ended up. Like, you can make the connection, and they don't look at the history of things. They just look at like one little thing, and go, this, and they can't put reality together.
Well, I mean, just because he doesn't enjoy going when, you know, he was in his curmudgeon phase where he was talking about coffee, going into like Starbucks and getting coffee that tastes like coffee, you know, typical curmudgeon shit. But for some reason, there was a huge sect that just decided that being a curmudgeon was a personality. Because other celebrities could go on stage and do it and then get out, like Louis Black. Like, I'm not sure he's a curmudgeon all the fucking time. You know what I mean? But they hear one thing that they agree with and they completely disregard the fact that George Carlin was not only, you know, fined for going against what was considered quote unquote free speech at the time. But do you know who fined and threw him in jail? Oh my fuck, it was conservatives.
Conservatives.
Yeah, they didn't like him way back in the day. And it was stuff that he was just being, you know, funny rather than political. And it was something simple like,
he's crazy, man.
And that bugged them from way back in the day.
Yeah, like the hippy dippy weather report. Like that was way too much for them. And then finally the time came where I guess he was doing a Vegas gig and, you know, he was doing his typical thing, and as he was saying it, he was looking out at the crowd and he's like, I don't relate to anybody in this crowd, and everything that I'm saying feels so contrived. And, you know, he started growing his hair out and just becoming a counterculture comedian with the observational powers and linguistic, you know, like fortitude of Shakespeare. You know, I mean, his family was writers. He said his father would write Shakespeare, just copy his works down for fun. If none of you have listened to his speech at the national, I believe it's the press conference in Washington, D.C., he roasts every politician in the most beautiful way possible by using things like, you know, the standards, I don't recalls and, you know, like the American people. Just please trust me, listen to this speech.
Right on. I'll give it a look, definitely.
Oh, it's such a master class on why he was who he was. His ability to call out the establishment in a way that was as respectful as he possibly could while still just sticking the knife in and twisting, because words have power.
If I could resurrect one person, I think I'd resurrect George Carlin.
George. I think George Carlin, they did the AI special on him, and I listened to it, and it was really, really good. Like, he really, really nailed a lot of the things that Carlin would feel about nowadays. But unfortunately, his family sued, and it was pulled from YouTube. So if you did get a chance to enjoy it, maybe you can find a bootleg copy somewhere.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Like there's a copy somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, I believe we already covered this without trying, and that's, my friends, Rage Against the Machine.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Like, have you never listened to the lyrics of Wake Up? Have you never listened to the lyrics of Know Your Enemy or Down Rodeo? I think Derek definitely has some shit to say about this, because, like, I'm sure he grew up, like, jamming out on Rage and, like, you know, can identify with a lot of the stuff that they were, you know, shouting out. Imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rage is big. Very big. I don't understand how these people didn't realize the lyrics were about them.
Right. They ain't seen a brown-skinned band since their grandparents bought one.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's blatantly obvious there.
I absolutely love the line where he says, "Fuck the G-Rides, I want the machines that are making them." That is the line right there, man. Like, I'm not a commie by any fucking means, but if you want us to talk about just summing up the idea of workers owning the means of production, it was right there.
Yeah.
Yep. They hit it on the nail.
Did anybody see Rage live?
No.
I never got to.
I got to.
No, I didn't
the
get
whole
to.
fucking place was
I was
bouncing.
raising
It was
my
amazing.
I was raising kids, so not at that time.
Oh boy, there's stories that go with that night. That was a
Many.
That was a night, all right.
Wait, you remember it?
Well, portions of it. Let's put it that way, because it was well worth remembering. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, our final topic of conservative cancel culture, the one, the only Mel Brooks masterpiece, Blazing Saddles.
I didn't know that they were making fun of MAGA the whole time.
I know. It's almost like it's almost like they were trying to paint the racists as the stupid ones.
Yeah.
That's like one of my wife's, like,
they'll do their convoys, but they'll pay for the roads.
The thing that really makes me laugh is if you ever watch any reactions to Blazing Saddles, especially any black people doing reactions to Blazing Saddles, read the comments, and the first things you'll see is, "We could never make this movie nowadays because of woke." And it's like, you realize that if this movie was made nowadays, you'd call it woke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, kind of. Because the whole definition of woke is like acknowledging that, like, there are social injustices and doing something to acknowledge it or to work towards making it better. Like, that's really what woke kind of is. And so that, yeah, Blazing Saddles would definitely be woke.
At least according to Ron DeSantis' lawyer. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, there you go, Tony.
What was that, Tony?
The sheriff was The sheriff was a DEI hire.
Funny.
I absolutely love the scene where he shows up into town, and before that, like the very first zoom in on him, he's got the Gucci bag, he's looking smooth as fuck. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't that Count Basie's orchestra playing behind him when he's walking through on the horse? Like, you know, Freddie Green, what's up?
Sheriff is near.
There was that part, but then the best part is when he gets up on stage and everyone's got their gun pointed at him, and he gets himself out of the situation by literally taking himself hostage, and they buy it. And he goes around the corner and he says, "You are so talented, and they are so dumb." And it's so true. Because, like, you know, remember Gene Wilder later on says, you know, we're dealing with the new clay of the modern West. Morons.
You know, morons.
Exactly. And that's why the movie's woke.
Wokety woke.
Oh, man. And, you know, I mean, there was just different parts in that, you know, I mean, where it showed that the everybody of every kind can get together and work together to stop bad people if we just put our differences aside. And, you know, that's the kind of movie that, like I said, I mean, nowadays, I mean, god damn, Ben Shapiro would be burning figurines of Gene Wilder in a trash can.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro is weird. Like, I hope that video he did was just weird. Like,
that whole
like,
fucking thing.
Like, yeah, like, you know, I don't know. He doesn't do like manly protest well. Like, I don't know. It just was like he couldn't even pull it off. Like, just stop, Ben. Stop.
Questions from the crowd. It's time for the palate cleansing portion of the program.
Palate cleansing.
We're going to reach into our Twitter sphere, get some questions from the Twitter. But before we go that, I want to make sure that we cover some things that we left behind. So this was the Bush gaffe that we mentioned earlier in the show.
Thank you.
A wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. A wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq.
Oh, you can put like a beat to it, like.
And he's just like, "Oh, I mean Ukraine. Oops."
I mean,
yeah, he corrected himself. Too late. It was right there.
Do you guys remember when his dad threw up over the Japanese prime minister? I was a kid when that happened.
Well, no, was that Bush Senior or Junior that did that?
Senior.
Yeah, it was senior.
Senior.
It was
Okay, yeah, and then the other one choked on a pretzel.
Yeah.
All right, before we get to it, did you see Trey Parker and Matt Stone announced a new movie with Kendrick Lamar? It has a release date of next July 4th.
Ooh.
Or somewhere around.
Cool.
I hope the Republicans won't be in Moscow.
And then also another comment was, because many states are not required to use federal sex education standards, they don't understand healthy relationships to begin with.
Boundaries.
That's a comment that came by earlier. So, Natsko asked, everyone's pets and their names, please. I will start. Topper, Rolly, which we call the burrito because he's shaped like a burrito, and little Oliver, who's a little miniature chihuahua. He's just the tiniest.
I got Kirby. I should go find him. I'm gonna go get him, and I'll bring him back.
Is she trying to get the answers to our security questions?
Right? That's a good security question, pet question.
Mine are Rosie the chocolate lab, Biscuit. I don't know what that's my, and then there's Daisy right next. I don't know if you can see her. She's like behind me sleeping. But she likes to sleep on my lap a lot, so.
Yeah,
There it is.
crabs, I guess, but hermit crabs.
I have shrimp
Oh, look at the
and fish
puppy.
and a tarantula.
Ooh.
Those are my pets, and they don't have names. They're fish and shrimp.
Oh, Daisy's not a pillow. She's a I don't know what kind of dog. She's a mutt. Kind of adopted us, so yeah, she makes a good lumbar pillow though. She does.
Actually, Nat's girl, I don't have a tarantula. Tamara has a tarantula. I have arachnophobia.
I don't like things with lots of spindly legs.
Anything
weird me out.
with more than 2 and less than 1, unless it's an amputee or a disabled veteran, is the devil's creature.
No snakes?
Yes.
No, the legs. Yeah, those steaks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to repeat myself.
Centipedes. Oh, centipedes really creep me out. And millipedes. Blech.
Yeah, no, thank you. Man, speaking of that, you know, I want to go ahead and I just want to just really quick say fuck Donald Trump, because he wanted to make fun of John McCain for dealing with what he dealt with. And if you've ever read about the Hanoi Hotel and the amount of millipedes and centipedes that you dealt with daily, seriously, he's shat on a golden toilet his entire life. He can fuck himself 6 ways to Sunday.
Yeah, Captain Bone Spurs can shut the fuck up about him being captured. Like,
Motherfucker won't even sleep on, like, you know, regular sheets, let alone having to deal with fending off vermin on the reg.
Yeah.
So sorry,
So
I had to go off on that as a veteran.
He wants to get down, but it's his birthday on Monday, so he's gonna be 12.
Oh.
Is he a Silky?
Do you have pets in
Godfrey?
Godfrey?
He's a Cairn Terrier.
That's what I want.
I have a cat.
Do you have a cat?
Got this one.
But you're not going to give away the name, because that is a fine security question. My cat's name is Nunya.
All right, and we'll move on to another Twitch question. Serenity asks, would you go into Twitter Spaces to debate Nazi trolls? I will respond with, I will go into True Social and debate Nazi trolls.
Yeah, I would too. I'm down.
Hell yeah.
I'll mock them.
Fight the trolls
Like,
where the trolls are. Yeah.
Like that's our next step. Well, I think we need to. We're gonna step that up and get a little gang going for that.
Carvel's Commandos, right? That's what he said. He's like, you gotta lie to get there.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if you gotta lie to get in, go behind enemy lines.
I've been known to get a little bit of recon done here and there.
No,
not at all.
And I will throw that back to the Twitter, to the Twitch sphere of, where are you going for recon? Who are you following for recon? Because that's
classified shit, mate.
Oh, not for you, but for everybody else in the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat. Go ahead and comment, and we'll come back and we'll start looking at stuff, because that's where you're getting the information.
Places that I recommend as far as learning about different points of view from the left and covering different topics. People that I enjoy listening to. Pondering Politics. I enjoy listening to Sam Cedar.
Sam Cedar's good. Yeah.
Let's see. There's a couple other the up and coming Luke Beasley kid. He's pretty cool. Adam Mockler. Definitely follow Adam. As far as if you want information on the right wing and what they're going to be, their messaging is going to be, what I definitely recommend doing is just paying attention to what everybody on Twitter is saying at the same time, because in some of the places that I've learned about, the messaging comes from on top and then it gets funneled out probably in some sort of fucking mass email to everybody who gets rubles. And when you start to see it come out in the same thing every time, like, you know, the same message, whether it's from people like Gunther Eagleman or, you know, Joey Manorino, any of them, just look for that solid message. Yeah. The cat turd who blocked me, proud to say.
Nixon made a good point. Bo of the Fifth Column is a really good.
Yeah,
he's not
Bo's
like
great.
He's like, if you want to like really know a little bit of everything that's going on, he does really easy to. I actually post a lot of his videos to my students because he's a really good, and he looks like he'd be MAGA, like, but he's like more liberal than probably.
Yeah,
a lot of us.
I think that's one of the things is he's able to draw in the MAGA crowd because of the way that he looks, and all of a sudden they're like, hold on. But what I'm saying is look at Twitter and look for the unified message.
Yeah. And he's a veteran, Bo is, so that also brings him in.
He has a great way of describing things so that the person who typically isn't into politics can just understand what's going on a visceral basis.
Breaks it down into crayons really well.
Yeah, and like originally when he started his channel, he was trying to do it so it was pretty neutral because he was just trying to pass along, break, fake news up, like stories and give the real story behind different current events. But as it got worse and worse with Trump, he's definitely not as neutral, but he's definitely, and it's not so he can be politically correct. It's he's trying to reach out to people because he knows that if MAGA's going to listen to somebody, it would be somebody like him. Actually, he's done a lot of advertising campaigns with other organizations where they use right-wing hashtags so that the right wing finds him under like their strategic SEO and all of that. And is it going to change everybody? Absolutely not, but it might reach a few, or even just one less Nazi we got to punch. So
through there.
Are we saying last call?
Think so.
Last call.
I gotta eat dinner.
Oh,
I gotta get my kids to bed.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's Friday.
I know.
So shout out to the Twitchers. Everyone's hanging out all night.
Thanks for playing.
Yeah. I made myself tired.
I'm gonna watch Fallout.
I want to watch that too. I forgot that it was coming out.
It came out today.
What is it on?
Amazon.
Amazon. Okay, that's what I'm doing then.
Nice.
I'm a little jazzed up for my monster, so eat dinner and then run a marathon, and then no, I'm just kidding. I'm not running. If I'm running, you should follow me because it's either zombies or clowns after me. Or,
Yeah. Oh no.
And I invite everybody, if you're watching live, come over to the Tony Michaels Discord. We'll probably be hanging out in the smoking room a little bit after a short little break, and we'll be chilling.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I'll pop back in if y'all are still awake. Like we had our late night last weekend, or no, not last weekend, the weekend before that. I wasn't here last weekend. We had like our late night session.
We're gonna get turned up
in the Smokers Lounge.
And for Skip, my cup of the night.
Nice.
Oh, right on. I dig it.
So
Shrunken Head.
Oh yeah, Shrunken Head.
Nice.
So it's even got the brain ditches in the back. It's great.
Right
Fully
on.
cool. Fully labeled.
Right on.
So we'll see Natch Girl. Natch Girl's up for partying. And Zorani says, "Who let the dogs out?" Woo.
Easy.
Cool.
Is that
All right?
Is that good for questions from the chat?
Yeah, I think we hit everything. We were pretty good today.
Well, hell yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with us for episode 5 of Bar of DeMOCKracy.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
Thanks for playing.
Good night, everyone.
And remember, however you party later.
Oh, the dogs are going to bark. My husband's coming home.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Remember, if
Peace
you
out.
give a damn about your democracy, that you need to make sure to catch the Tony Michaels podcast every, and I do mean every day, because he's the one delivering the message that we need. We'll see you later, gang.
Adios.
Bye.